I will be honest, I just watched The Silent Voice again for like the 10th time. Actually, I will be honest. This is the first time I watched Silent Voice in like a year or two. Silent Voice is definitely one of my favorite anime movies I've ever watched, and I see why, in my opinion, it's probably the greatest anime movie, and I stand by that. I will fight regardless. Like the emotion between, we gonna talk about it. First, I want to talk about some things I didn't notice. The symbolization in the anime is fucking nuts. So if you know the beginning of the show or the beginning of the movie, Ishida, which is the main character, the girl's bully, aka Shoko's bully. The first thing that we see before any flashback, we see him in real time, just retrieving all this money, selling all these things, and you're like, oh, what's going on? To then see him as a 17 or 18-year-old, willing to just take that leap, and we don't know why yet. It's a fucking twist. And then the only reason why he didn't take that twist is because he heard a noise, and he heard people talking. And he thought to himself, he said, you know what? Maybe I'll just handle it a different way. And that's the first thing he thought. But I'm going to try to break down. If y'all don't know what Silent Voice, I suggest that y'all watch it. Silent Voice is based off a manga who is about Shoko. Shoko is a deaf girl who just joined the school. And she is the boy that's well known within the class, whether it's by friends, people that he mess around with, all these kind of things. Even though he was kids, they were like 12 or 11 years old. They were in the 6th grade. So they're just young, right? But like I said, Shoko ends up joining the class. Everybody likes Shoko. And then to some point, for some reason, Ishida and a group of people decides to make fun of her. I'm not gonna break down everything because I want y'all to watch it and embrace that movie like how I did. I don't want to spoil it for y'all. I will spoil some parts though. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. So that's the basics of it. That's the basics of the beginning, and that's not the reason why he wants to. So one day, Ishida went too far. Ishida took off her thing. I think he broke it. Can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry. But something happened to the piece. Ishida got snitched on. All his friends turned on him right after that. And then everybody was just like, oh, Ishida, you're this and that, blah, blah, blah. Keep in mind, he wasn't the only kid making fun of Shoko, nor was he the only kid even picking on her. But he was the main one. And bullying is a big, big topic, especially recently. There's been 2 people that have passed away off of bullying, whether it's by jumping or getting into fights, and they have led to situations where people can't even see their children anymore, right? So, rest in peace to those people. Back to the story, my bad. But like I said, all his friends turned on him, and basically it was just him by himself. And it was really weird for him. He was in a really weird spot. So for years on years, he just blocked out the world because he felt like he didn't have the right to exist anymore. And his mother had to repay the amount for the hearing aid. So all he remembered is his mother ears bleeding, and the shit that he put Shoko through. All these things, all these memories with his friends that wasn't even there anymore for him, that turned on him and made fun of him in return, in retaliation. So instead of him just being bullied or him bullying her, he started to be bullied by these said friends that used to be in his group. They turned on him. Even one of their favorite bands, because they seen him with a CD, he said, oh yeah, I got this. They said, yeah, I think I'm gonna stop listening to him now. After 6th grade, people just went on, forgot about their life. They just went on with their lives. And then, like I said, we're dated back to when he decided not to take that jump or take that leap to take his own life. Very beautiful moment. Holy fuck, man, this movie is amazing. It still gets me emotional. Like, that's how I know it's a great movie. It gets me to the point of emotion. Keep in mind, I've watched it multiple times, and I'm still intrigued because I'm still learning things. I'm still seeing new things. One of my favorite parts, right, is about how he tried to make amends with everybody. Definitely out of guilt, but in order to give Shoko the life that she should have had when she was a kid. And then it dates back to when hold on. Because this is really specific part that I really want to talk about. But we gonna just breeze through it. We gonna highly get to there. Up to the point where her little sister was just protective of her. Like, didn't even want people to get close to her. And was just worried for her little sister to see Shoko grow a bit more. And to take pictures of dead things so she would not want to take her own life anymore because Shoko had these thoughts. She was a kid. It was devastating. All she cared about was her big sister. She didn't even really care about her own like image or anything. She didn't care about going to school, nothing. My favorite part does go back to the grandmother that they had. This happens after all the friend group basically breaks up because that girl I said I couldn't stand and I didn't like, she just outed. She's loud. Ishida used to be the one that bullied her, this and that. And then he was like, you used to say stuff too. And then she was like, no, I didn't. She did. She did all that to try to impress the dude right next to him. But in the movie, he's not as bad as a person than what he is in the manga. I'm talking about the dude that she likes. Believe me, in the manga, he's a horrible person. I don't know why they still in the friend group. Them two people, I don't know why they in the friend group at all. Get them niggas out. They are horrible people. First of all, they're conceited and they only care about themselves. The dude only started being friends with Shoko. Well, not Shoko, with Ishida, because he felt like he could be better than him. And then he was content with jealousy once he realized how good of a person Ishida actually became. Like, no, bro. Oh, my bad. Like I said, it was about the grandma. But this is after like friend group breakup and everything. And Ishida and all them are really in a weird spot. Ishida is still in contact with the little sister and Shoko because that's the two main people that he's been really talking to. Before they even meet up again, right? The grandma is at a table talking to the little sister, saying, you need to worry about like what you want to do. You have to focus on what you want to do. You have to live for yourself. You can't just keep living for your sister because, like I said, the little sister didn't go to school. She was just around Shoko though. That's it. Is it? Yeah, Shoko the whole time. Every time Shoko was, that's what she was. Taking pictures, doing whatever. And like I said, she was a really weird kid in the beginning of the story. But after she met Ishida, she became more stable. So Ishida also helped her find herself in a great, grander way. But that's not what this main video is really about. So what happened was, like I said, they're still talking. And the little sister says, I am living for myself. But she said, but you're not living for yourself. You sitting here learning sign language the whole time. Your grandmas end up saying, I'm living for myself. I do it for my own enjoyment. That's not really just for me, like, to do whatever. But keep in mind, this is her talking to her granddaughter. The grandma didn't combat. The grandma didn't say, no, you're not. She didn't interject her own opinion. She said, is that so? She said, dang, look at the two wonderful grandchildren I got. So caring and loving. Right? So I want y'all to understand how much that means. The grandma wants her to find her own problems out herself. She's gonna lead her, but if she says she's doing this for that, then she's just gonna believe her. She's going to be there regardless. This dates back to how Ishida and the little sister met one day, and the little sister was crying under a waterfall. And she's just talking, like she's not really saying anything. She's being a little awkward. And she said, oh, I gotta text my sister, I gotta go. So, and she was like, I'll walk with you. They end up walking. And there's like a sign to the right. And it says the little sister's family name. And it says funeral. So we knew it was the grandmother's funeral. So just before the grandma died, the grandma was able to have a sit-down conversation with the little sister. Not only that, I do think the grandma passed away right next to the little sister because the next scene was her sleeping and like smiling and stuff. So I'm guessing that she passed away in the sleep. So now we just switched to the funeral. We seeing the mother sad. We seeing the sister sad. We seeing the family sad, basically. And then the service happened. And after the service, you can see like I said, the mother's just crying and looking at herself in the bathroom in the mirror. Head down, kimono on and everything. Black kimono. The little sister makes it to like this little courtyard. And it's a beautiful white butterfly that just follows around her. Shoko's on the other side. The beautiful white butterfly goes to her as well. And then it just floats in the sky. And then you get this wide view of the both of them. And that's basically like the grandma saying, I'm still here with you. That shit was amazing, bro. Y'all, like that shit is amazing. And that's one of the reasons why it's really my favorite. But for me, this is where we get to the darker topic now. This will always forever be my favorite part. Shoko family invited Ishida over because it was her mama's birthday, and they just wanted to throw us a little surprise. Keep in mind, the mama don't really like Ishida at this point in time because he was the child that used to bully his baby girl, or her baby girl, and she felt the way obviously about it, which is reasonable. Like, but at the same time, she realized that that's not the same young man who used to bully her. This is a completely different person, and she knows that, and she learns that the hard way. So, remember how I told y'all how Ishida wanted to take his life. Just remember that. They ended up going to a festival to like basically celebrate their mom, just to have fun, go out and stuff. Ishida and Shoko is having a real big talk. They're talking, whatever. Shoko ends the conversation abruptly saying that she has to go study. She does this. In sign language in Japanese, I think. Japanese sign language. That means I have to go study this and that, blah, blah. So he said, oh, well, I'll see you later. Well, she said, have fun with my family, because he was still going to be there with the family and stuff. But then the little sister seen, and she's like, oh, where's Shoko? Oh, and then she asked him to go retrieve something for her, I think the camera. He comes in the house, the apartment, right? Where he thinks Shoko is just probably like laying down or whatnot. He sees her at like the balcony looking at the fireworks, and he's like, Shoko, what you doing? But remember, Shoko is deaf, so she can't hear him at all. He sees Shoko climb this ledge, standing over the water, or standing over the floor below it. And he speed runs. He trips, speed runs over there though. He get back up on his feet. All you hear is a, which is one of the fireworks, one of the final fireworks. And you switch to a scene where it's a down pan, and you see him holding her arm as hard as possible, like catching her, telling her to grab her onto the railing as good as possible, like as hard as she could. And then within that same breath, he said, I will change my ways. I will look at people within the, like, and straight in the face. I will try. I will do these things. He's basically like speaking to a higher spirit. He's basically saying this thing to himself to like drive motivation, to better himself, to better his life. Keep in mind, throughout this whole time, he has not been having his friend group, because like I said, they've been having a fight. Shoko ended up wanting to, herself because of the things that's transpired because of the bullying from years ago. She felt like she's the reason why Ishida's not with his friend group, why everything is not good, why everything is like this and that, blah, blah, blah. She felt like she's the reason. And then there's a girl in the friend group who is pushing her and saying that she is the reason. That's not what you do to somebody that is very suicidal. I can tell you that right now. That don't work. It's gonna end up with an attempt. He ends up saving her, but in return, you're met with this switch where he's falling into the water, similar to how he was supposed to in the beginning of the story, because that's what he wanted to do. And as he's falling, you don't hear nothing. You switch to the sound of Shoko and her seeing him fall into the water. And then once he hit the water, you hear a poof, and then he's just thinking to himself like, whoa, what's going on? And then you just see blood start spilling out. So you think he's gone. That shit make me emotional. And I don't want to keep saying those favorite parts. I don't want to keep spamming them. But the symbolization also within the movie is amazing. It's fucking amazing, bro. To me, I feel like in order to have a great story, you have to have some kind of emotional scene that could convey or connect with the readers or the writers. Not the writers, but the readers and the consumers. It has to be a certain kind of way for people to understand. Kind of similar to How I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. How I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is about a girl basically dying on the cusp of death. And she's in love with this guy. But she's too scared to say something because she knows eventually she's going to die. Just for her to be... Yeah. Don't want to spoil that movie either. Kind of did a big spoiler, but... Yeah. Similar to that. Similar to Your Lie in April. Where this dude's just having fun with one of his friends while his friend is in love with him. He knows it, but he don't really like her like that. Plus he liked this other girl. Just for him to think about these things and then they having this last dance. This last I don't think of the word, my bad. This last musical. And he feels like she's there dancing with him. Then he races his way to the hospital just to see that she didn't make it. You get what I mean? You have to convey it in some kind of way. And in this, that's the difference between a silent voice and a lot of other movies. Because I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, that shit will have you bawling at the end. Like, no cap, it would. Same with Your Lie, April. But there is moments throughout A Silent Voice where tears just come out, bro. And it's just connection. It's shit amazing, man. I just wanted to talk about A Silent Voice a little bit. I hope y'all have a great day. But that's my reason to why I believe it is the best anime movie in my opinion. I just gotta be honest.
Need you to come my way. I'm going out my mind. Dirty MG, they blue. How many at one time? What you said gotta be true. You was all on my mind. Wherever I go, they go. Too many at one time.